friends. It's Romania Black, and we're on episode 21 of To Be Hero X, and episode 20 was crazy. Episode 20 was wild, absolutely wild, and I've had so many comments that I've had to like literally split them in two. I could not get through all of the comments before I needed to sit down and watch this video, so we are going to be looking at comments before we start from episodes 18 and 19, because they need to be talked about, and then there was two things in the Discord that were posted that I want to address, because I'm getting ready to record this right before it comes out. I've been trying to wait, and I can't wait anymore, and then I may just go ahead after this episode is recorded and then a few days later get to the comments from episodes 20 and 21, or at least from 19 and 20 from YouTube and Patreon, and then record again, because I'm like, we're in the end game now. We are definitely in the end game. We ended with X drinking out of a soda can, popping back to CGI land, but I don't know. You never know with this series. You don't know if they're going to give you a sudden backstory of a character. You don't know if they're going to pop to the future, back to the present. I feel like either one of two things, as I've been theorizing with you all, I feel like one of two things are going to happen by episode 24. We are either going to go back to the present these next few episodes and just see what Linling has been up to and have some kind of situation arise, and maybe it'll end with a cliffhanger that will lead into season 2, maybe. Or we are going to finish up with all the loose ends of the past before year 41, and the last episode is going to go back to Isol and Linling, and then we'll be back to the present by the end. I don't know. That's the one thing. At this point, the series it's gone back and forth, and I really like it because you can't predict what's going to happen. So there's a lot. There's a lot. So let's dive into these comments. With Small Screen Computer for episode 18 says, the line from the Fear Advocate in episode 8 says, it was caused by the whirlpool of conflict between heroes. Should be translated as it was caused by the struggle between hero whirlpool and hero conflict. Even though this is another mistranslation from episode 8, I suppose the translator didn't have the context at the time of airing, and the translator was confused by conflict. The original line in the Chinese version has only added the hero title next to whirlpool and then followed by conflict. Not to mention the hero whirlpool has been localized as hero vortex in later episodes. Okay, so to clarify, they said hero vortex died at the plane crash that Lucky lived in. So there is a chance that, yes, Liu was trying to expose back in episode 8. Liu was like, hey, there's more going on than y'all are talking about. Stuff's being covered up by the Hero Commission, which is true. So Vortex got in a fight with some hero called Conflict. We don't know, but it ended up being probably the cause of the plane going down. And in the midst of all that, Conflict must have killed Vortex, and then we went from there. That's what it sounds like. We will probably find out more the next 4 episodes, so we'll see where that happens. But thank you for that translation correction. That's rather important. So I appreciate that. They also said, I don't think Little Johnny knows about Ghostblade's family conditions, yet Ghostblade is giving Little Johnny the dad energy, so Little Johnny is just asking off the top of his head for parenting advice in the car. Later, he just switched to defend Ghostblade without knowing much about Ghostblade at the campsite. That makes sense, too. I feel like people had talked about at the beginning of this series that the translations through Crunchyroll are womp womp, and they're fine, but I do think that some of the translations do miss some of the context and make it a little confusing for a Western viewer to know without the context of the original translation. So thank you for clarifying these things. I find that very helpful, so thank you. But the stuff with Vortex and the plane crash is so fascinating to me. I need to know more. Maybe we'll find out more as the series goes. They also said for episode 19, I would say that Mr. Shang, aka Mr. Shand, was just a, quote, hero manager when he recruited Ghostblade before the year 20, as shown in episode 15. So it was possible that he just knew about the hit on Shang without being involved. I suppose Mr. Shang later left MG as he had climbed higher in the office and learned more about its history. Again, we can assume so much about Shang, but this series has played him so close to the vest that all these theories pop up about Shang, Mr. Shang, because we just don't know. We just don't know. And so I can only theorize based on what the show gives me, but I can't, definitively say things until the show comes out with answers. So it is kind of frustrating, I'm sure, as a viewer, because you all are like, you've seen the previews, you know what happens, but I'm just a mere blind reactor, just going by what I see. And so it would be interesting to know. We don't know where Shang was in Mighty Glory. I assumed he was towards the top and then left because he saw maybe Mighty Glory not going the way he wanted to, so he left to go do his own thing. That's usually what happens. People get to the top of a company, they realize the company values or agenda isn't what they want, and now that they've got all this experience and they've accumulated wealth from being at the top, they go off and do their own thing and take that accumulated knowledge and wealth and start their own company, which seems like what Mr. Shang has done with Treeman. So that's just my assumption about it, but maybe we'll learn more as we go. Amp Lee 4699 for episode 18 says, you're pointing out that Liu Jin and Mickey must have had, quote, sexual encounters. It's so real. They're basically Queen's evil fathers at this point. I love it. Someone pointed out that Queen just looks completely done with them both. I'm like, I think she loves her dad. I think she values her dad. I don't know how much she would love her dad when she realizes he's the head of the Spotlight organization, but I think that she's just like, you do you, Dad. Just my bisexual father getting his game on with some creepy man. She's like, your taste in men, what can we do? At least his taste in women seemed all right. Queen turned out fine. Sarah, for episode 18, says, one thing that is not explained outright, but could be implied, is that both Queen and Vortex use one-word commands as part of their powers. So Vortex saying, quote, disappear is part of his power, or Queen saying rush, like in her fight with Boa, is part of her power. So Vortex about to try and make BJ or Big Johnny disappear, and also Little Johnny in the hospital, is terrifying. Yeah, Vortex is complicated. I really like Vortex's character just because he seems like this complicated gay man that just is really bummed that Shang chose to have a wife and child over their relationship. So all these gays, all these angsty gays in To Be Hero X. You got Mickey, you got Vortex, you've got Wreck, you've got Nice. Like, all these angsty gays. Lee Howlin is not holding back. But yeah, that is very terrifying if that is true. So thank you, Sarah. Sarah also said for episode 19, Mickey wants chaos. So a new era of heroes can emerge that benefits him and DOS. That makes sense. Mickey is an opportunist. He is just a businessman and a con artist that just wants to, he's basically just playing the system, and he comes across as this like, I support women, when he really doesn't. He just supports himself. So Liu is jaded with the system and chose to side with fear. Yeah, Liu kind of figured out that if the hero society isn't going to change, but Mickey has the means, the money, and the way to change it, that I'm just going to join him. And Queen wants to do away with the system and the current status quo. To be honest, this mess is proof in and of itself that change needs to happen, but is she prepared for the reality of the system? I feel bad for Queen in all of this, because Queen legitimately wants to change the system and make it better, but she doesn't realize that, one, her dad and Mickey have been working behind the scenes to change the system without telling her, so that's a thing. And then two, the way that they are trying to change the system is to benefit themselves. And I genuinely think that Queen wants to benefit the entire world with her change, but she doesn't realize that a lot of times change, it's like, Hamilton, The Room Where It Happens, which is my favorite song from Hamilton, is all about people making deals in the dark and how we don't know the changes that get made and how it seems to benefit us, but is really just to benefit those that are making the changes. So there's a lot of political nuance behind the scenes in this series that I love, but I feel bad for Queen because she is just very idealistic, even though she's a pragmatic character, and I don't think she realizes what's all been going down behind the scenes with the CEOs. And then finally, Unakimi8 says Shang being Little Johnny's dad, was X before Vortex. The mods approved that, so I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. I don't know if that was ever said. I don't know if the mods have just slipped by them. But if the show's going to tell me later, please don't tell me. I will find out later, so you don't have to tell me. But that's interesting to note. Okay. So that adds again to the complexity. If I'm not surprised if Shang was X before Vortex. I'm not surprised if Shang was X. His healing powers would make him very popular. But I could see also why he stepped down if he had a wife and kids, and he's like, okay, you can be X Vortex, and then Vortex like, but we were supposed to do it together. Like, there's so much gay angst. I can't. So yeah. And then two things I want to note. I know I've talked for 10 minutes, but it needed to be noted. JavGamer posted this after episode 20 premiered in the Discord. They were like, the elevator ride after the fight at the spaceship, they live in the same building. I didn't realize that. It didn't dawn on me. I'm like, oh my God, they do. Well, here's the thing. Nice E-Soul, Nice and E-Soul and Little Johnny, yes, 100%. That's the most awkward of awkwards, especially E-Soul and Little Johnny. What the fudge? Lowly probably has been hanging out with her mom post-dad death, so that probably got avoided. Ghostblade resigned, so that might have gotten avoided. Lucky Cyan, maybe her and Queen are chilling out at her dad's. I don't know, but that's still so awkward. Oh my God. I mean, maybe at least Nice seems like a loner, so he probably flew the coop, or maybe he's hanging out with Shang, Mr. Shang. And then, yeah, E-Soul and Little Johnny, though, awkward. And then, so Potater said in the Discord, it might be worth, now that you've watched episode 20, to go back to episode 2 and watch Moon's intro. And they were very vague. They were just like, go back and watch Moon's introduction, see if you notice anything. And I was like, okay. The two things I noticed were, one, whenever when the person that nearly ran over the little kids that looked like Madeline that were going through, he looks like one of the suited men that were in episode 20 hired by or created by Mr. Shang to use fear to try and kill, well, they did kill Lowly's dad and hurt No. So what I'm guessing is that by implicating that these men, these fear users that nearly ran over the kids and probably figured out where Moon was at the time, it was all an orchestrated act for Nice to meet her and thus to create this scenario. So basically it was all orchestrated by Mr. Shang. The Truman Foundation and Mr. Shang and Miss J orchestrated the entire incident, which we kind of figured out in episodes 3 and 4. The other thing I wanted to note is that in this screenshot here, you can see Lucky Cyan in the corner. So we know that Lucky Cyan, at least around year 39, is still around. She's there because this all happened around year 39, I'm pretty sure, or around year 40. So she's still around as far as that goes with her really cool Seraph of the End outfit. So yeah, interesting. Those are the things I noticed in that, but I guess we'll find out if there's anything else noteworthy in the last couple episodes that we have. So anyway, I really enjoy episode 20 and basically episodes 18 through 20 and everything starting to tie together, but there's still so much mystery. Rock is being weird. Nice is being weird. There's lots of things we still don't know answers to, so I'm hoping that we get those answers as we dive into these next couple episodes. So thank you for all your comments. I will get to the comments for episodes 19 on YouTube and episode 20 on Patreon for episode 22, so don't worry. But with that being said, let's not waste any more time, shall we? The other good news is that the Chinese subs are back. So whatever happened, Crunchyroll fixed it. So good job, Crunchyroll. Not that I didn't like the Japanese sub. I really liked the Japanese sub. It just feels weird when you've watched like 17 or 18 episodes in one language and then you have to switch to another language and you're like, this doesn't feel right. Even when it's great, which I will definitely, assuming that we might get a season 2, I will definitely have to be going back and rewatching episodes. So doing that in the dub or in the Japanese sub would probably be on my agenda. So we'll see. But anyway, let's go ahead and start. We are going to get into episode 21 of To Be Hero X, and we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. I feel like Kronk in the Emperor's New Groove. It's like, oh yeah, it's all coming together. I was like, oh, I love this episode. One thing I love about To Be Hero X, to be clear with To Be Hero X, is that this show gives you an impression of a character, and then later on it gives you more nuance and complexity about that character, where you go back and go, oh, now I know why they were like that. And oh, this is how they actually were. Or oh, this is the reason they were the way that they were. And so I feel it's really making a comparison between Nice and Smile with that, because Nice, you know, at the beginning of the season, episode 1, you're like, why would this perfect guy possibly commit suicide? And then by this episode, you're like, oh no, every flag has been raised as to why this character would commit suicide. Every flag, every possible flag, especially this episode when you find out that he's had a hit put on his, like, idol. It's like, oh, yeah. So you kind of get that. We're going to break it down in this episode. Trust and believe. As my dogs are being very needy, trust and believe. But then Smile, back when he was facing Boa, I was like, what a condescending jerk. And now I'm like, I love this man. Now I love this himbo, and I want to make sure he doesn't die, but it looks like there's going to be crazy things happening in a foot. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about Dragon Boy. We're going to talk about Dragon Boy. And then it's not a Calamity Corner thing. It's just personal preference. I feel like we were talking about this in the comments. I feel like the nice thing about To Be Hero X, nice, is that everyone gets characters that they really appreciate and that they relate to and that they find interesting. And there's such a breadth of characters where you can kind of choose your fighter, choose the character you like the most, and you can justify why they are amazing. Like, characters that I'm not a big fan of, like, I have nothing against Lucky Cyan, but she ain't in my top 5, you know? Whereas other people love Lucky Cyan, and she's like maybe their favorite hero in the whole series. And there's nothing wrong with that. We could all like different heroes. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with anybody having a different hero that they like, but I think it's so cool. And I have so much I want to say. And we're getting some breakdown as we're in, like, it's what, year 39? So we're still in year 39, right? It's right after the Ruins incident after incident, the Smile incident, the Ruins incident. So let's establish something that I think year 40 was when the Smile incident happened, which, if you recall, was mentioned back in episode 1. And Lin Ling, they've talked about how Nice just hasn't been the same since the Smile incident. Nice hasn't been the same since the Smile incident. If something happens to his hero that he, like, idolized since he was a child, yeah, I think that would make something happen. So yeah. So this is the incident that caused basically Nice's entire spiral. Nice's spiral. Now, oh my God, it's like things are coming out of the woodwork and making more sense. Now, when Rek was like, you haven't been returning my calls, you haven't been returning any of my text messages or things like that. At the time, we thought, and this could still be the case, at the time we thought it was because Lin Ling had taken over Nice's body and he just hadn't been returning any of Rek's calls or stuff because he's like, I don't know this person. But the reality could also be that Nice was in such a depressive spiral, he didn't even want to get Rek involved because he was afraid that Mr. Shang would have him target Rek next. So, and then that would just completely destroy him. So, oh my God. Yeah, it's all making sense now. And, I really feel for Nice. It's making me really feel bad for Nice because Mr. Shang, a few episodes ago, we were ranking the CEOs, and Rock is the worst. Rock is still objectively the worst. He's like, has just nefarious means. He's not even slimy. He's just cruel. He doesn't care to kill the people that work for him. He's a betrayer, a manipulator. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities with Rock. And Mickey is a slimy gay man, which no, his sexuality does not make him evil by far. I'm like, being as pro-LGBT as I can, I'm part of this community. And so I'm like, yes, Mickey's just slimy and an opportunist. Zach's biggest thing is like, if we were doing 7 deadly sins, Mr. Zach would be sloth. He is just like, so whatever. And there is a sin of complacency. There is a sin of complicitness. And Zach is very much complicit in what goes on and doesn't try to like make anything better. He's just out for his own gains too. He's like Mickey, but not slimy. Like Zach is probably the least of the offenders just because he's so out of tune with it. Mickey has his hands in every pie, for better or worse. And Rock is just the worst. But Mr. Shang is so, of all 4 CEOs, Mr. Shang is probably the most complicated because I was giving him the benefit for a long time because I'm like, okay, he lost his son. His son died. Losing a child is the worst thing that can happen to a parent. Bar just losing your spouse. Aside from losing your spouse, losing a child that you helped deliver into this world is the most traumatic thing that can happen to you. There are psychological studies that have shown this. It is proven. It's objective. It is literally one of the worst things that can happen to you as a person. And so I gave him a lot of grace because I was like, he's lost his son and it's made him hell-bent on revenge for losing his son. With that being said, this episode shows that not only has Mr. Shang gone off the deep end, getting heavily involved in fear, making these fear men, causing the death of another hero's parent, which, it's like pot calling the kettle black. You literally caused Lo-Li to lose her father. You lost your son. You've become the monster that you hated, But now we see on top of that, the depth of the emotional and psychological and physical abuse he's given Nice. And it makes you feel a little less empathetic or sympathetic towards him. It really does. And it's a really cool take on, and I mean cool in like a morbidly fascinating way, but it's a very interesting look into the psyche of someone who lets hatred and revenge completely absorb their entire persona and completely absorb their entire psyche to the point where not only are you kind of committing the same sins that you were outraged by, but you're hurting other people that in a quest to enact the same actions that were taken against you. And it is so interesting. So yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So what Whiteboard Kun is mainly getting up on here is that we need to talk about the top 10. We need to talk about the top 10. I have been very curious about the top 10 for quite a while now. Now, this is the top 10 as of year 40. So we're not counting like Lin Ling and Moon and all that now. We're not counting that now. We're not looking at that now. So we don't know who number 11 is, but we know that number 12 is this hero called Dragon Boy. Dragon Boy is the hero there. So I'm sure I'm going to be missing things, and I'm sure you all are going to be filling in this alongside me, the stuff that I miss. We know that number 10 is Firm Man. That has been established. And we're going to go, number 5 was Ghostblade. So number 5 was Ghostblade. We're going to put him up here. I'm assuming this is right after, this is like tentatively. We're going to put tentative because he was number 5. He just resigned. And so we'll see where that there. I feel as if Rock doesn't know that Ghostblade's resigned yet. So there has been a spot open up. Is Nice number 11? I feel like Nice is number 11. We're going to put Nice with a question mark. Is Nice number 11 at this point? I feel like that is a thing. Okay. And we know that X, just X, is number 1. And he conveniently just dipped out after he became number 1 to rile up the... I feel like X is just trolling everybody. He's just trolling everyone. He has come in and through his possible alien powers, because I think he's an alien. I think he's one of the aliens, because otherwise how could he best the heroes without them being able to do anything? I feel like it's connected to like Big Johnny and Lo-Li's armor and all of that. I feel like there's a connection there. With that being said, I feel as if X has come in, taken the top spot to throw all of the commissions out of whack, to make all the CEOs pissed, because being the top hero gets you a lot of things, as we'll find out in this episode. And then he just pieced out to be like, hey, I'm not dealing with any of y'all, bye. And then just to throw them all out of whack and into chaos. I feel like X just wants them all to cannibalize themselves. He wants them all to eat each other alive. And then he'll show up and be like, wow, how did this happen? Now, Lin Ling seems like he would be kind of the antithesis to all of this. And maybe it would be interesting if Lin Ling and X teamed up. That would be really interesting to me. That would be kind of cool, because I could see X being like, doesn't the system kind of suck? And shouldn't we just, like, completely dismantle it? Which is what Queen wants, but is Queen in the top 10 at this point? I don't know. It's hard to keep track of the top 10 because we keep transitioning between episodes, and it's like, well, I don't exactly remember what we get. So again, we're gonna talk about this, but we need to get started on this episode and just dive into it. I've already talked for 11 minutes, but okay. So here in 3, 2, and 1, we are going to talk about this episode because we start out with the whole thing of Dragon Boy. I don't exactly understand why these guys were just randomly, like, he was 22 seconds into his video. Why was he randomly filming the mountains and the landscape? Why was he randomly doing that? And then he just happened to notice Dragon Boy in the lake. Like, these guys seem like the biggest frat boy douche bros. I doubt they're concerned about environmentalism. So I'm like, why were they just taking a random video of the mountains? I don't know. That part was, not to be a Calamity Corner, this is like the only Calamity Corner-esque thing that I'm going to do, and it's not really even a big thing, it's just an observation. But, like, it felt like it might have been better if, like, the guys were just goofing off and being like, hey, bro, what's up? We're taking a picture in front of a mountain. And then in the background, they saw Dragon Boy swimming, and they're like, what's that? And then it led to this episode. Just them randomly filming the mountain is so bizarre. It's such a bizarre choice. I don't understand it. But yeah. So we get Dragon Boy. We're going to bring a little arrow over here to talk about him. We don't exactly know what his powers are. Yes, I know you heathens have watched the previews. Yes, I know that you know what his powers are. Yes, I know you want to tell me, but I will figure it out. Do not worry. I guess I should go ahead and tell you that there's been a patron named Potator, amazing name, that has been on the channel for a while, and they have compiled with the moderators a list of things for me to react to when the series is over, and one of them is the PVs, so do not worry, I will be watching them when the series is over. Also, I will be looking at the OP and ED after episode 24. At this point, I'm already to the end. I'm going to wait till the end, and then we're just going to do it all together. It's going to be fun. I'll probably do the ED and OP. I don't know if I'm going to remember. I'll probably be so hyped up from the end of episode 24 that I'll save them maybe for the extras that I'm doing that they're compiling, but we'll wait till then. We'll see if I remember then. Sometimes when I say I'm going to look at the OP and ED lyrics at the end of a series, I get so hyped by that last episode I forget. So we'll see. We'll see. Dragon Boy is intriguing. I'm going to be honest. I think because we know very little about Dragon Boy, I don't have much of an attachment at this point. I think that I love their design. The purple eyes, the purple hair, the tattoos on their body are super interesting. They also kind of feel like, I feel like we don't know what the powers are yet. It feels like it's something that, like, the more he is hit, the more he can hit back, or like the more he basically takes power from the abuse that he gets and transitions it to power back towards someone, which is a pretty interesting ability if that is the case. His markings make me think of two things. One, they make me think that it's tied to, like, the alien spaceship, especially like the center part, because that almost feels like Nice's talisman or like E-Soul or something. It feels like it's part of, like, tied to the alien spaceship, which has created the power, the trust value and fear value for the heroes, or at least that's the theory so far. The other thing is it almost feels indigenous. It's giving me like Little Johnny, Big Johnny vibes, and like Shang and the mom, and Shang's wife, aka Little Johnny's mom. Like, it's giving those vibes, which there is an interesting kind of sub-commentary in this series that feels like it's just skirting the surface about indigenous people and their presence in the series, which I'm really happy about. I'm really glad that they're included. But since I'm not from China, I don't know the context of why that would be a relevant commentary. It just, you can feel that some statement might be being made, especially with these dude bros beating him up, because they're making fun of him. Also, winter swimming hero. Can we talk about the concept of this entire scene? Because essentially, one, I feel like the social commentary with the culture aspect is they were completely disrespecting Dragon Boy. Like, there are lots of different cultural rituals and traditions and activities that indigenous people or people from different cultures do that if other outside audiences are not familiar with them, they judge them for it. And they're like, what a stupid thing to do. And it's like, actually, that has a lot of cultural significance and you're an ignorant POS. So there's that. And so I felt like part of it was this. But the other side of it is, they literally could have made him a hero swimming in an icy lake forever. Like, that literally could have happened. These stupid frat dude bros being like, hey, let's submit this video of him and make him a winter swimming hero. Like, there are implications in this world to doing that. Like, they could have literally raised the trust value on him to the point where all people thought of was this guy swimming in a lake like a freaking Lapras. And that could have been a thing. Like, and just the way that this society does those things without thoughts about consequence to the people involved. Again, this is very much tying into like influencer culture. And the immediate thing I thought was like consent when you videotape people, because a lot of people, I watch a lot of reviews and analyses of influencers because I'm never on TikTok. I really am not. I've posted like 20 TikToks. It's not a lot. I'm never on there. My friends send me TikToks occasionally, but I think it deteriorates your brain and I hate it. So I won't watch it. Sorry, I'm old, but I'm unk. That's just my old unk theory. But I do feel as if a lot of influencers, especially like Gen Z, Gen Alpha influencers, just videotape random people and get them involved without their consent, and then something will happen, and now that person's like getting on blast or getting doxxed or something like that, and it's like, they didn't ask for that, and you're making things worse. So I feel like it's a really good commentary, because these guys could literally have changed Dragon Boy's entire life on a whim because they were bastards. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm glad that didn't become the case. But yeah, Dragon Boy is interesting because we don't exactly understand. He's very angsty. Very angsty. We don't get his backstory. We don't know why he's angsty. Again, this is not Calamity Corner, but I feel like Rock attracts a certain type of person. I feel like Rock seeks out and attracts a certain type of candidate, very similar to all the CEOs, to be honest. All the CEOs. Mickey attracts a lot of female candidates because he's got this whole like faux feminist angle that's hiding lots of his scumminess. I feel like Mr. Shang wants a perfect hero that the audience will create, that the outside world will make a god, and that's why Nice exists, and that's why Lin Ling was chosen as his replacement. We'll talk about that later on in the episode. But I feel like Rock chooses very angsty, emotionally isolated, and individuals that feel abandoned by society as his proteges, because Yang Chong kind of has a similar vibe to Dragon Boy, just Yang Chong was a little bit nicer and more socially integrated, whereas Dragon Boy feels very like socially isolated and like he doesn't want to be around anyone, whereas Yang Chong wanted to be around people. The outside world has rejected you. Like, that's kind of the vibe that happened with him. And then Ghostblade was socially isolated, kind of like Dragon Boy. It's interesting. I feel like Ghostblade and Dragon Boy and young Isol, kind of have similar traits to their characters. And I feel like Rock preys upon people like that because he feels like he can manipulate those types of people because I think he's similar to those types of people. So, of course, he can manipulate them because he knows how they feel. So, it's interesting. It's very interesting indeed. But yeah, also, these guys were the worst. Like, do people in China just immediately grab chunks of ice and start slaughtering people? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? I guess in the US people have guns and they do the same thing, so it's just awful. I'm glad I live in a bubble where I don't see these people around. I'm glad that's the case. I'm glad no one has ever come up to me threatening me like this. But at the same time, I don't know. At the same time, I guess some of these bros do exist. And I just am lucky enough to not be part of it. But again, Dragon Boy's whole thing about trash should be cleaned up and dealt with is like his MO from the start. So I'm very curious what led him to get to this doctrine that he kind of is saying throughout the entire series so far. But he's like, trash, quote unquote, should be dealt with. I can see why he would go along with Rock, especially when Rock's like, I'm assembling a team and I want only the special, exclusive, amazing heroes to be on my team. And Dragon Boy views himself as exceptional because he calls everybody else trash. And so I could see why he would go along with Rock from the beginning of all this. His powers definitely seem like he absorbs hits and deals it back. It feels, yeah, being tanky. He also only has 10 trust value. I have noticed, I think that's 10. I don't think it's 01. I think it's 10. If it's just 01, but it feels like it's upside down. So I feel like it's 10. Maybe Rock believed in him from afar and watched him beat those guys up and that gave him strength. Maybe, or maybe someone else believed in him and that's where he's basing this ideology from. We don't know. But it's weird. I feel like 10 has been a base value for Calamity, was a base value for a couple others. It feels like it was. So I don't know. That's an interesting number. And it's also interesting that there is a top 10 and 10's the base value. So yeah. Why is this guy so weird? I do love his tattoos. They're cool. And then he's like, come at me, bro. And yeah, he beats them all up. Yeah, that cut to, you think the blood is going to be Dragon Boys and it's the other guys? Interesting. And yeah, then Rock shows up. Looking freaking dapper. I'll give Rock this. He cleans up for when he goes on his ski trips. Looks pretty good there. And he's like, I'm assembling a team. Actually, I'm just assembling individuals that I can nurture into a god. What's curious about this is that when, I guess we're going to put here, when Rock picks him up, we don't know what year this is. We don't know what year it is, actually. So this is not recent because Dragon Boy has changed his appearance quite a lot since this moment. So we don't know if this is a year. We don't know if this is 4 years. We don't know if this is before Yang Chong and Isol. I'm assuming, my assumption is that this is before the Yang Chong and Isol incident. That is my assumption. Because I don't think that Rock, we've talked about this in the Isol arc, I don't think Rock intended for Yang Chong as Isol to take out the OG one. I don't think he intended for that. I think he just rolled with it after it happened and he was like, okay, we're going to make this work to my advantage. But I don't think that was his intention. So I feel as if this might have been before the Isol incident. Possibly. Possible. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if the timelines add up. And so he's like, I want to make someone into a god. Well, Dragon Boy is kind of pretentious, or at least seems pretentious. I know some Dragon Boy fan will be like, he's not pretentious. He has this angsty backstory that you know nothing about. And I don't. So, again, I will eat my words. He just comes across in this episode, because we know nothing about his backstory, he comes across a little pretentious. Like he's better than everybody else. And like when he talks about dealing with the trash and throwing out the trash, it kind of makes him sound like he's better than everybody else. Or like he feels like he's above people. Maybe not everyone, but he feels like he's above certain people that he calls trash. So Rock coming along being like, hey, do you want me to help me take out the trash and be an exceptional person that people might worship you as a god? Dragon Boy's like, yep, all about it. So I think what's interesting, I will say this. Rock's manipulation. I will give Rock one devil's advocacy point. One devil's advocacy point. That's all I'm giving him. In comparison to Mr. Shang. Rock seems to like, if he doesn't like you or he doesn't think you're doing a good job, he either just comes out and tells you, but he doesn't get in your face and like grab the side of your head and emotionally manipulate you. He's just like, he'll either say, hey, you're effing things up, or he'll just have someone go kill you. So, there's something to that. Whereas Mr. Shang is like literally Munchausen by proxying nice into oblivion. And I'm like, what is going on? Maybe not Munchausen by proxy. That's like, physically. Well, he kind of is a little bit. But yeah, Dragon Boy's all about this. Dragon Boy's like, yes, I am Dragon Boy's a little different than Yang Chong. Dragon Boy's like, oh, I'm interested. I'm in. I want to become a god and I want to take out the trash. So let's go. Now, what's interesting, he says, once I become Zero, let it be known that in this episode, Zero is basically being equated to a god. And that's why they had to get rid of him. allegedly, because he'd gotten to that status. Because Dragon Boy, who's not even a hero yet, is when he says he's going to create a god, Dragon Boy says, well, once I become Zero, which means he views Zero as a god, which is crazy. He says, once I become Zero, will I get to clean up all the eyesore trash? And Rock's like, well, what's your name? He's like, Dragon Boy. He's like, I'll have everyone remember this name of yours. That bothers me. He didn't finish the circle. Finish the damn circle. Yeah. It's almost like the C. I don't know if the C is like for creator, commission, like C-U-N-T. But anyway, he's like, I'm going to basically get you to be like a god. And then you can do whatever you want. So then we come back to the present in that exact moment where he leaves the shrine. I'm assuming at this point he doesn't know about Ghostblade. And Dragon Boy comes in. We'll say Dragon Boy's aesthetic and design is like a 10 out of 10. I love the purple floral. The purple floral top is just the ultimate I don't give a shit shirt. Like that literally is like if you want to emphasize to the world that you do not care what they think, this is the shirt that you wear. And purple is kind of associated with like, I associate purple with dragons, toxicity, psychic abilities, Pokemon themes, ghosts, supernatural things. I associate purple with supernatural things because it is a very unique, unusual color. He keeps the same pants that he had before, so we keep that continuity. And then he just gets into bondage gear, like into bondage kind of fetish gear with the leather straps. I mean, I dig it. It's a great concept. The mohawk with the piercings. It's a 10 out of 10 character design. I'm kind of all about it. It fits him to a T. Love it. He's like, the plan, it seems this time your plan was derailed. So, to be honest, this episode being called Nurturing God, I was honestly expecting just nice backstory. Going into this episode, I was just expecting nice backstory, which I was really excited about. We don't get that entirely. We get a little bit about it, but we get so much more than that. So I'm actually really excited. Also, Rock's table looks like an hourglass, so that's kind of cool. He's like, despite leaving your control, Ghostblade's ranking has only gone up since the Ruins incident and not dropped. So his ranking's gone up, not dropped. And it just so happens that these two little pieces of trash entered the top 10 due to that failed theater play. So we're just going to keep Ghostblade as number 5 for now, tentatively. I know he's left Mighty Glory, but he's still technically a hero. And his rankings have seemingly gone up. So we're going to say that maybe the rankings, maybe he's higher. Maybe he's higher. He's still alive. So that's all we know there. And Lowly and Little Johnny have entered the fray. We're gonna put them on here at some point. So we're gonna move them into here because they go through like the pieces. Such irony. Which one should I clean up first? He's like, my reason for calling you here is the opposite. Lolly and Little Johnny are very popular right now. Striking where people watching will bring trouble. I love the little piranhas biting at his fingers like he's just taunting them. So good. So we're going to randomly put people on the map. And I know that that's wrong. I know that this ranking is wrong. We're just going to put them on there because we need to put them on there at some point. Now, also, who else? Oh my God. Vortex was on there, but he died. So he's gone. Who else was on here? Oh my God. I don't think Moon's in the top 10. Is Moon in the top 10? Esol. Esol we're going to put as... Esol was number 9. Esol was number 9 after the incident because we did talk about in the last episode because he is mad about that. He's not happy about being number 9. So we're going to put him on there. So there's Esol. And then Furman was number 10. Little Johnny, I'm going to put him as number 8 because 8's my lucky number. Or Lucky Cyan's in the top 10, isn't she? Isn't Lucky Cyan in the top 10? I feel like she's been in the ranking matches. Let's put Lucky Cyan here because she's my... 8's my lucky number, so we're going to put Lucky Cyan on there. Then let's say Lowly. Let's put her on there. We're going to put big question marks by them. And let's put Little Johnny under Ghostblade. Don't take that out of context. I realized it as I said it. But yeah, Little Johnny, Big Johnny, we're just going to put them over here for now because their popularity is rose. Who else? There's 3 other heroes that we're missing. Smile's one of them. So we're going to put Smile, let's say Smile's number 2 because Boa's not on the top 10 anymore because she fell off after getting beaten by X. And then I think, is Queen up in there? Is she really? Is Queen up in the top 10? She was doing the ranking matches, so let's put Queen at number 4. And put a question mark by that. And then there's this other guy that's in the top 10. I realize there's going to be 1,000 comments in the comment section being like, Enlightener was number 249, you heartless wench, you ignorant slut. I'm going to be like, look, it's hard to keep track of everything, you heathens. So, okay, it's not Enlightener, but there's this other guy, other mystery man with the glasses. Who be him? Who be him? He's in the top 10. We don't know who he is. Smile's the one being targeted, but who's he? Like, we don't know who he is. He's like the mystery person right now. So, okay. It'll just be good news for you if they rank trash as trash. And Rock basically, now, I will agree with Rock on this one. He's like, emotions can give popularity, but they're not objectively based on factual information. So Rock is basically saying that just because Lowly and Little Johnny are in the top 10, that does not mean that they are going to be strong enough to be a threat against Dragon Boy. You know, that's kind of what they're saying in there. He's like, assuming I make the top 10 before the start of the ranking matches. So the current 10th year of Firm Man is merely a commissioned figurehead. Yeah, and he ends up leaving by the end of by the current timeline. So in this sense, he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone by year 41, which would open things up for Lin Ling to come in as the commoner. That sets that all up. Okay. Gotcha. And then the white and green-haired weirdos are peaking in popularity right now. Okay, so the white and green-haired weirdos. Sir, you could be a little bit more progressive. Okay, so Queen and Lucky Cyan. Yes. They might switch those. But yeah, so basically I thought at the time he was referring to Lucky Cyan and Nice, but I don't think Nice is not peaking in popularity because Lucky Cyan and Queen had that big press conference. He's talking about them. Look, they're lesbians, sir, and it's okay. Be accepting. Be accepting and progressive, sir. So yeah, so he's talking about them. They're peaking in popularity right now. So we don't want to, they'll have people circling them everywhere they go. So the good news is Queen's not going to get targeted, and neither is Lucky Cyan. Good. Got that. Glad we can attend to that. And then that's why your only target will be the top 10 hero who's just outside the public's gaze. Interesting. He's like, oh, that old guy. He's like, now that you mention it, he's been sitting in the top 10 for a good few years. For decades now. That's the creepy thing, is that Smile doesn't look like he's aged much. Like he has the Attack on Titan Zeke beard going on, but he does not look that old. But the fact that it's been decades is kind of like, that's the creepy thing about the power of the trust value, is that it can keep you looking the way you do for a long time. So like theoretically, if Nice had stayed Nice, he could have stayed looking like he has for years and years and years, even though he ages. It would have been wild if they had taken off the helmet of OG Isol and he looked like a teenager. That would have been insane. This man that was like 60 years old looked like a 10-year-old. That would have been crazy. Crazy, this buff-ass man with a young face and he's like 60. But that's kind of how it works. So we also need to make note of former exes. We have Miss Matchstick or Mr. Matchstick. We had like some people were naming in the comments like the former exes that are no longer in the picture. So like Miss Blaze and Mr. Matchstick, which is hilarious to me. So there's them. DJ Shindig, R.I.P. DJ Shindig. That, and then we also had Boa for a time, was X, and then Vortex and Shang were all X's at some point. Okay. They were all up there. So yeah, my curiosity is that the guy with the glasses not being targeted is very interesting to me. Like, who is he? Like, why aren't they targeting him? He doesn't seem like he'd be very strong. He seems not strong, but he's in the top 10. We'll get into this. Maybe I'm wrong. We can shatter everyone's deep-rooted impression of him, and the waves of trouble stirred up will cause more than the ruin incidents. Okay. He's like, it doesn't seem like anything he's got. He doesn't have anything that we could exploit. And that's when he's like, do you Ari? He's like, there's no information you can't gather. His position can no longer be threatened by shallow public opinions or criticism. The only thing that can destroy him is the most lethal of weapons. That's the necklace in that box. Bitch. Okay. So, what Rock did was get the necklace. Now, how he got that necklace? Oh my God, here's the thing. If he got the necklace either one of two ways. Either he just stole it outright from the daughter and or the wife, or I'm assuming it's the daughter because it's got her and him in the locket, or he sent Ghostblade or somebody to kill her and then take the locket, which we don't have confirmation of. So I'm accusing Ghostblade of things he may or may not have done. But, and I love that he says it's the most lethal weapon. The most lethal weapon is targeting family. Targeting people that other character loves. We've seen it time and time again in this series. We've seen it with Mr. Shang and how he reacted to his son being killed. We've seen it with Moon being Here's the thing. I feel now that I've looked back and saw that Mr. Shang has basically orchestrated Moon and Nice getting together, I feel as if Rock sent Isol to kill Moon because he didn't want Lin Ling and Moon getting together and being another power couple. I feel like that's my theory. That is my theory. Now that it's come out, I feel it, now that we know that all these CEOs are just plotting against each other and using the heroes as chess pieces, I feel as if Rock was trying to get it to where Lin Ling and Moon, who had a legitimate connection and could have been a legitimate couple, I guess he was like, oh, we don't want that. We don't want another ex Miss Blaze and Mr. Matchstick. We don't want another Nice and Moon combo. Let's get her out of the way and just... And maybe in the process, I'm just putting words into people's mouths at this point in headcanon theorizing. Maybe in the process of pissing Lin Ling off because he sees how popular Lin Ling is, maybe he will convince Lin Ling to be like, hey, let's just get rid of Isol. Like, Isol's outlived his usefulness. Let's just get rid of him, and then you can work for me and be X. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just putting words in people's mouths, but that's what it seems like. Okay, he's like, you have one chance. Whether or not you make it in the top 10 is up to you. If you don't make it in the top 10, you're probably going to die. Then we transition to this scene. That is so freaking creepy. Nice looks as fake as you couldn't. That looks like the cartoon from Fallout, the series Fallout. That looks like the cartoon of like the everything. Like it's so dystopian. That smile is dystopian. It's so put on and fake. And even the photographer is like, what the fudge? Also, I called the photographer a character name. If you've not seen that series, you won't know what I'm talking about, but he does look a lot like him. This photographer, for the record, is like way out of his depth. If I was a photographer and Mr. Shang came over and he's like, get out, I'm like, that man could have you killed in 5 seconds, sir. Hold the phone. Crazy talk. But yeah, you're being too vague. Also, it's crazy that Lin Ling's boss is right there. I didn't realize Lin Ling's boss was that deep into the Treeman Foundation. That's crazy. Also, Miss J having the nice memorabilia on her. Interesting indeed. So yeah. And also, if you look at it, Nice during... They're having this entire argument with the photographer, and Nice is just like... like, the fact that you don't know what this man is thinking when he's putting on these faces, but you can kind of guess what he's thinking, is absolutely heartbreaking and terrifying. I'm like, oh my God. So then Smile. Smile's like, it comes from within. A power that radiates outward, moving your face muscles. The sad thing is, y'all, Smile and Nice have so much in common. They really do. They're unhappy people that are so burnt out from the system and they're so burnt out from being a hero, but they joined it for various desires and reasons, but now they're so disillusioned and burnt out that both of them are so lonely and isolated and struggling. It's heartbreaking. I feel so bad for both of them. And the fact that Nice looked up to Smile, and Smile was one of his mentors. He's like, a natural smile from within is difficult to fake. When he said, no, 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 that was so cute. The way he said, no, no, no. That was so funny. Put away the stiff, commercialized smile. And before you smile, think about what is truly worthy of your joy. I love how the smile slowly fades. And so he thinks, what's worthy of my joy? And we see little baby Nice. Now the crazy thing is, so looking at this, that he's always looked like that. Nice has always had the white hair, the blue eyes, which I guess you could argue is like platinum blonde or whatever. He just happens to look a lot like Mr. Shang's son, which is common. People, you have doppelgangers and you have people that you look like, so that makes sense. I'm like, and then he smiles there, and then he sees the hero, and the hero magazine that he has Smile on it, which means Smile is at least like, he's a pretty older dude, but he looks almost exactly the same. And then, I'm sorry, you just had to show us with him and Rek as they're like performing. So this is before they get hired as heroes. This is when they're just doing their double act and performing. He's like, what do you think of my smile? And he's like, you look like a lecherous creep. Which, I freaking love that, because we're going to talk about it for two reasons. One, because it is giving me all the Don Mai vibes. I'm sorry, all the Don Mai vibes. If you have read any Don Mai ever, you can see those vibes. So, yep, couple totally confirming that. Thank you, Lee Howlin. Nicely done. Nicely done. But two, I love the positioning of, someone had shared a meme in the Discord about it, and I agree 100%, where Rek is actually this really sensitive, sweet soul. He just is labeled as the villain to Nice for commercialized reasons. Nice is actually the one that's kind of like got a darkness to him, a natural darkness. And Rek is making fun of it and joking, being like, you're such a creep, but I love you anyway. But that's kind of the crazy thing, is that Nice gets made up to be the hero when he's actually got all this darkness inside of them. And Rek was someone that was so sympathetic. And he's like, where'd you learn that from? Like, look how Rek's giving him a hard time, and Nice is like, hey, like these two, seriously. And then he's like, my childhood idol, myth hero smile. Yep. I hope that one day, wow, and that smile, I can have a smile as contagious as his. He does look older there. I'll give him that. He does look like he's aged some. He just isn't allowed to like have different hair, but you can see the laugh. He has the laugh lines, which is crazy. Did you think of a reason to smile? And that's the most genuine smile that he's given. I feel as if the smile that he gave Lin Ling right before he ended his life is similar to that. So we're going to see. We're going to see how that goes. But yeah, and he's like, my work here is done. He's like, just a little more natural. Ugh. Thank goodness for Hero Smile's professional advice. And then immediately, before we can have truly nice things, Mr. Shang shows up with his corpsey paleness. And he's like, could you wait? My time is precious. And they're like, no, come down. We're going to get some snacks. And he's like, I love how he says, I can't deal with this job anymore. Look, I'm not saying that being a professional photographer is an easy job. I'm not saying that it's, a pretty simple job to do, because there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of complexities. I have friends that are professional photographers. There's a lot that goes into it. But when he's like, I can't deal with this job anymore, I'm like, sir. After everything we've seen happen in this show, I'm like, I think you're all right. He says that and complains as Nice is about to have his head grabbed by Mr. Shang. Let's just put that in perspective. This moment here, where as Shang walks up, I want to show you all the visualness of the moment Shang is watching up. Nice's face completely falls into the shadows, and then he shows up. The power and intensity is radiating off the screen. You can feel it. It is insane. Yep. And he's like, didn't I tell you to lie low for a bit? Why are you doing this? He could have easily asked Miss J why this was going on, because I feel like Miss J probably orchestrated some of this. So why is he not asking her? This man is terrifying. Yeah. He's like, well, yeah, Miss J told me to come here. So yeah, that's exactly what she said. Basically hit that face, like the bags under his eyes, the fact that this man has just been like living off of whiskey and pure hatred is terrifying. Terrifying. And he's just like, I just finished wiping your ass the last time from the ruins incident. Why are you out in public? Why are you ruining your image? How's that going to help you? That is so freaking creepy. And then like him grabbing his hand, he's like, you might still be able to prove yourself to me. That is like insane manipulation, because we've now learned that Nice always wanted to be a hero like Mr. Smile and to have this like picture perfect image and to cause people happiness. And that's what drove him to be this way. And Mr. Shang, much like Rock, picked him up being like, wow, you look like my dead son. I can totally use you as an instrument of revenge. I'm going to get revenge on Rock, who wanted to create this hero that was a god. I'm going to beat him to it by using this guy that wants to be a hero to my own advantage. And it's just insane psychological manipulation. It's absolutely crazy. I need a weapon that can exact vengeance. See, like the way that the hand is drawn, grabbing his head, the shadows, the lighting, it is so well done, but it is so spooky. It makes me sick. I don't like it. Not some dull, useless, ornamental piece. Because that basically is Mr. Shang saying, I chose you to be a god, and I chose you to exact revenge, not just be a poster boy. And I'm like, he literally went to kill people for you. Like, my dude. And then in that moment, as he's grabbing, he like flashes back to seeing his son dead on the ground with the rain falling on him, and then seeing the helmet removed. I mean, this is where I get my sliver of emotional sympathy, because the idea of Mr. Shang going to like find his son and seeing him dead like that and having to identify the body and things like that. Like, yes, as a parent, if he was a parent, I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but from a parent's perspective, I could see that completely warping you and messing you up. I could see it. And instead of going to therapy, like a normal person would, or should, he was just like, what if I exacted revenge using this hero system? I love this transition. The transition of like, because if you look, like Chow does not look entirely like Nice. They have the same face shape. They have similar eye shapes. Their hair and brows kind of lay similarly, but they are not identical. But that shot, and Nice just, the crazy thing is Nice doesn't see any way around it. He believes. There's a lot of discussion about belief and what we convince ourselves to believe. And there's been talks about deception in the series before. Like Ghostblade even said, like, these people are deceiving themselves. And Nice is deceiving himself. Like, Nice has power. He could probably get away from Shang if he wanted to. He really could. He's got enough power from the people that believe in him. He could get away from Shang. The problem is Nice thinks that Shang will find some way to use social media to manipulate the situation where he'll lose trust value, which is a real possibility. Or he believes that Shang is more powerful than him, which is kind of insane because we don't think Shang has any abilities. This episode as well, like this moment here where he's like, why do you think I came up with all those ways to make you popular? Like, Shang has admitted in this moment, he doesn't give a shit about Nice. He's like, he's using Nice as an object and as a tool for revenge. And he's like basically had him get with Moon for no reason other than to make him popular. He don't give a shit about Moon. He's had him like fight Rek as a villain to gain his popularity. He doesn't give a shit about Rek, which those are two people that Nice assumedly cares about a lot, especially Rek. So how that does to your psyche, imagine that. And then I last episode, I made the comment that I thought maybe that Mr. Shang was X. I don't believe that now. I could be wrong. I could have been right the whole time, but this makes me think that Shang is not X. Because I don't think that Mr. Shang would go to such lengths and be this crazy if he was already the #1 hero at that time. I don't think he would go to such lengths if he was already in the spot that he was desiring Nice to be in, you know? So this episode, now that we've seen how he treats Nice, definitely makes me think that I'm like, oh, okay, you're not X. You're not him. You would like Nice to be X, but you're not him, which is crazy. Yeah, you can't possibly think it's really to make you a hero. And that's like, that's the thing, is like, Nice assumed that all this was to make him a hero. And he's like, no, I need you to get into the top 10 to get rid of Isol in the ranking matches and bring down Rock. At this point, Mr. Shang is like, I may not have made myself clear when I hired you, but the whole point of your existence is not for yourself. No. You signed a deal with the devil and you're working for me. You sold your soul to me, Nice. And my goal is that he knows that this whole business with Isol is what caused his son's death. And Isol is, at this point, I feel like Isol, since Ghostblade is gone now, is Rock's best hero. So he's like, I need you to take out Isol and we'll bring Rock down through that. Which is, I don't know, it almost feels a little short-sighted for Shang. You feel like he'd be doing all this stuff with fear and everything else, not just to take Rock down, but he's driven by hatred and revenge, so that tends to do that to one person. And this thing when he's like, watch carefully that relic in front of you. No matter how you do it, no matter if he's dead or alive, I need you to replace him. So this is where what is so ironic is that the hero that's being targeted by Mr. Shang in order to get Nice into the top 10 so he can fight Isol in the ranking matches and take Rock down is also simultaneously the hero being targeted by Rock to allow Dragon Boy to get in the top 10 and then elevate themselves to the status of a god. So it's just like, it's like both Shang and Rock are trying to get these heroes that they've nurtured. Nurturing God is the title of the episode. They're nurturing these two fighters so that they can become deities to take each other out. And it's like, the crazy thing is, I don't think Rock's target is Mr. Shang at all. I don't think Rock even has Mr. Shang really on his radar. Mickey has Mr. Shang on the radar because of the whole fear element, the fear value. I don't think Rock cares about Mr. Shang. I don't think he even knows. I don't think he even cares. I think his whole goals are this giant overarching ambition to create another Zero. Whereas Mr. Shang is like, I'm going to create another Zero to take down Rock. Essentially. And then Mickey's just like, I just want to profit off whatever I can. So yeah. And that's where we're at. It's so wild. He's like, I know, sit back and watch. This is your best chance to become X. And so then we find out, yeah, so Nice, of course, is like, oh my God, Smile is my hero, my idol, my inspiration. What do you mean you want me to take him out? That's like the last thing. Like, I think he was like, oh, I can take out, oh, they're messing with conspiracy boards on over there. He's like, I think I could take out Lo Lee and Ghostblade and Little Johnny because I don't have any connection to them. I don't care about them, which is terrifying in itself. But then Mr. Shang says the commission wants to avoid another tragedy like Downfall. They've enacted an execution order on the current X. So we understand now that Zero is tied to the incident called Downfall. And that was when the commissions were made at year 0. This kind of answered the question I had last week where I was like, is year 0 when the trust value, fear value thing started, or was it when the commissions were founded? It's when the commissions were founded. So the stuff with the trust value and fear value could go back to even before 41 years ago. This might have been going on for like 50 years or something like that. We don't know exactly. Or we don't know how long Zero was a hero before he killed somebody and the commission had to be made. We don't know that information yet. We're probably going to find out by the end of the season. But yeah, so then they want an execution order on X, which seems a little drastic. X hasn't done anything. He's just being a troll. So yeah, we go, everyone is aware that it means the vast majority of people will have become that individual's believer, which means that person could become a god. I think it's interesting they focus on Mickey, because I don't think Mickey cares. I think Mickey's like, whatever, you know. They could become a god. And gods can bring upon blessings, or they could destroy the world. Well, here's the thing. It's all about control for the commission. I don't think the commission cares about the people in society. I don't think they care about the blessings. I don't think they care about what heroes can do. The CEOs and the hero commission itself are all a representative of control and governmental authority. Like, they are just a presence of authority that want control, and they want to save their skins and profit off of the backs of everyone else. They don't care at all about the world being in danger. They just care about themselves and them not being able to control that. We experience that disaster brought upon us by Zero. Preventing the creation of gods was why we were created to begin with. So we can't allow them to reach the top a fourth time. Mm-hmm. And then we have all of our CEOs that are present, like Mickey and Rock. Yep, Shang, and then we cut to Rock. Zach's just over there playing on his video games, like, whatevs. Like, he's just with FOMO. Mm-hmm. And then we have these two shots. We have these two, like, insanely bastardized father figures. You have Rock looking off at Dragon Boy, like, go, my prodigal son that I found out in the tundra and nurtured to be this future hero. Go, destroy Smile. And what's interesting is you have Dragon Boy. Dragon Boy's all about it. Dragon Boy's like, oh, I get to go do something fun and take out the trash and become a hero? Sure, whatever. Dragon Boy, like, I love the visual difference of Dragon Boy heading out in front of Rock, like, I got this. Give me the stuff. I'm going. We're good. Trust me, I can do it. And then you cut to the polar opposite, where Nice is absolutely heartbroken, absolutely at the bottom of the barrel. And Shang's just like, just go do it. Like, I need this done. It's all for me. Like, the vibes could not be more different. Even the backgrounds where you had, like, Dragon Boy in this lush library with the aquarium behind it, and Nice is in front of a completely white blank board. It's so sad. Yeah, I feel bad for Nice. I really do. So then we have this. He's like, what do you want so late at night? We have this guy. Who be this? Who be this man? I don't know who this be. He's like, skewers with beer. The world will be rid of fears. I'm like, okay, come on, Hemingway. He's like, what is this? He's like, are you just going to waltz in? They clearly are friends. Old bro Smile. This time you wear a helmet. Can you start coordinating your outfits? I don't know. Okay, just real quick, I'm just going to point this out here. If you've not seen Heated Rivalry, you will not know. But does Smile not give off Scott Hunter vibes? Am I the only one that thinks that? Smile gives off Scott Hunter vibes, especially with the facial hair, especially here. Is it just me? Okay, great. We're good. I'm not saying this guy's Kip, but I'm just interesting. And his little star and moon PJs, adorable. So cute. Who is this man? So he's like changing his slippers. He's like, okay. So anyway, and he has these little bears. What? So I don't know who this guy is. Also, his shirts are adorable. It feels so good after a long day of work. A lonesome man can only find another lonesome man as his company. Now, I know what y'all are going to say. You're going to be like, Romania, you're just shipping these two people because they're guys and they have a relationship. Can't they just be bros? Can't they just be platonic friends? Can't they just be that? Well, yes, of course they can. Of course they can be. Yes. Normalize men having friendship with other men on a deep, connective, platonic level. Yes. But can I also ship? Yes. There's a little context there, you know. We don't know who this guy is. He's got his little glasses on the wall. He's got some pictures. We don't exactly see what's in the frame. He's like, you know, on this lonesome night. He's like, I don't feel lonely. He's like, I like being on my own. So, okay, we don't know who this guy is, but we do establish that he's got the little cactus too. So whoever this person is, he likes being alone. So, is he conflict? They talked about hero conflict, but I don't know if he was in the top 10 or not. So is he conflict? I don't know. It would be ironic if he was conflict, because to have conflict, you have to have two people. And he says he likes being alone. So that would be really funny if he was conflict, but he liked being alone. That would actually be really hilarious. And also, if you have Smile and conflict, those things seem like they're in opposition of each other, but then they're friends. So that would actually be hilarious. So I don't know. I don't know if he's conflict or not. But yeah, he's like, you should snap your fingers and chat with me. Wait! You should snap your fingers and chat with me using your other self. Is he X? Is he X? Wait, what? I missed that. I missed that in the reaction. No. Is he X? Did he have a thing with Smile? What? Holy shit, what? Oh my God, no thank you. I have a principled stance against working overtime. Well, but what? He hasn't been working at all, has he? But he has the black hair. Oh my God. Okay, but he has the glasses like X. Well, we're gonna go back to that real quick. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. I've got a screenshot. Hold the phone. Well, his glasses are different in the CGI version. The CGI version makes it hard to tell when CGI versus that. His hair's slicked back and his glasses are a little bit different. But he could be X. And Smile's just not telling anybody about knowing who X is because, one, he's got this execution warrant that maybe even Smile doesn't know about. But two, he doesn't want to, like, bother. He values X's privacy. What? Either he's... But what other hero can snap his fingers and look different? Oh, my God. Okay. If this is really X, that's going to be insane. Okay. And he's like, it's time you told me what you're here for. Okay. The commission wants to remove you from your pedestal. Oh my God, it is X! Oh my God! How did I miss this in the reaction? Shipping blinded me. I'm so sorry. Yes, it is X. Oh my God, he's X. Holy shit. Oh, wow. Okay. So if something happens to Smile and he's friends with X, that would probably fuel X wanting to do something about it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry it took me this long to get to this point. Wow. Okay. Wow. And he's like, well, I thank them greatly. I can't believe, like, this X is this chill. And how did Smile know it was him? I already wanted to quit last time. Who knew the Ruins incident would occur and cancel the tournament for the year? So he intended to quit. He intended to quit this last year, but then the Ruins, which is hilarious in hindsight that the commission wanted to dethrone him, but the incident that was used in conjunction with that ended up keeping him on the throne. That's crazy. And now I want to know, how did Smile figure out he was X? How did that happen? What's going on? How long have they known each other? I have all the questions. What? What? I don't even know how I managed to hang on all this time. So how is he, like, I feel like I was expecting X to be a lot more, like, trolly and trickstery. Instead, he's just kind of like, I don't know how I've ended up this way this whole time. Maybe when he snaps his fingers, does he become a different persona? Is it like Urkel and Cooley and Stefan? I have all the questions. Because he seems kind of morose about it. I just want to get back to living a normal person's life already. So if you want to get back to living a normal person's life already, then why are you still, I guess, why are you still doing this? Why did you get up to, I don't know, I'm curious. Like, why did you get to the first rank if you just wanted to live a normal life? Like, what was the point? Why go through with that? Interesting. All that hero stuff, whoever wants it can have it. I don't know, maybe this isn't X, but I feel like it is. And he's like, eat your skewers. That just seemed like a quit with your humble bragging. Being a hero for decades like you and smiling for decades. It's tiring. I admire you. And he's like, I've forgotten what tired means. Oh, that's so relatable. Damn, that's good. Everyone returns with smiles and I'm pretty happy. But then as he drinks more beer and stuff, he admits that he's actually not happy. I'm in pain on the inside. Other people have their wives and kids and their warm bed. And And then I like that he sits there drinking and he's like, judging from your smile, you seem pretty happy to me. He's like, I'm smiling so much my face is all stiff. I have tears in my heart, but they won't flow from my eyes. I want to know more about this man with the glasses. If he's actually X, I have so many questions. Like, how? What is this alternate personality? What is this? What's happening? What is going on? How did you get here? What's your MO? Why are you tired? What is going on? Blah, 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 blah. And so he's like, okay, if you feel that much in pain, how are you still smiling? He's like, don't you believe me? He's like, what are you doing? Oh, he starts to strip there. He's like, you can't just do that because you're lonely. I like that he's like, hey, look. He's like, hey, look, I know you're lonely, but this can't happen like this. No, we're not in a good place. No. You just sober up. Pansexual smile agenda. He's into everything. He's into anything that will give him the time. I'm curious that, like, the fact that he talks about his wife and kid and that he couldn't be around them because of his job. Again, connecting to Ghostblade, and that he's estranged from his wife and daughter. But also, it really makes me appreciate and have more respect for Shang, because Shang, like, when his wife died, Shang was like, that's it. I'm taking my kid and going. That's what I gotta do. And he tried to escape the system. I respect Shang so much for that, and the Hero Commission just wouldn't let him go. He's like, you should use this stripping move to defeat me in the ranking matches. That to me is all I need to know. He's like, you should use a move like that and I'll let you beat me. And I'm like, okay. I Smile X agenda was not on my bingo card at all in this entire game. At all. But I mean, come on. If you've ever shipped before, blonde hair, black hair, outgoing, enthusiastic optimist with giant smile but has hidden pain beneath, man who's like seemingly a loner and kind of like gloomy and down to earth but is actually OP, like it's Sasuke Naruto. It's all the vibes. Look, can you blame me for shipping them? No, they're giving me all the vibes. They really are. My wife bought it for me, one for my daughter. Okay, so it is his daughter's, the other one. Wow. So there's him as a younger hero, and there's Nice in front of him as he's like on display there. She said, I smile at other people's kids every day. Wow. And there's Nice as a child. So she put a photo of our daughter in this locket. I asked her why she has a scowling face. Says it's because your daughter has no photos of her smiling. Man, she looks interesting. I'm like, who is she? I wonder if we will see her again. I don't know. Again, the problem with this timeline is that we don't know how old he is actually. And so we don't know. He said that was decades ago. So his daughter could be in her 20s or 30s. I don't know who this is. Interesting. I wonder if we'll see her again. My daughter's all grown up now. She moved out on her own and we don't connect much. Once you say that's painful for me. And X is asleep. He's like, well, damn it. Also, the trope, that eye mask is hilarious. Also, the trope of him putting into bed. Like, y'all, this is the face of the man that's possibly destroying the entire Hero Commission's world, and he's just being tucked into bed by Smile. Like, what the fudge? What is happening? And this might be the last time he ever sees that man. Like, as he's tucking him into bed, that's the last time they see each other. What the fudge? I'm sorry that I didn't recognize him sooner. But I have so many questions. And he's just in a random apartment. Like, they put an execution notice out, and he's in this random apartment. What? Y'all, I'm going to be checking comments and watching episode 22 very quickly. So then he takes out the trash. He takes out the trash for X, who we think is X. And God, no one will run into me here. That's a fatal mistake. You should not have taken the helmet off. I guess it doesn't matter because he was recognized. Yep, he was like, shit, I was recognized by somebody, and it's Dragon Boy. Yep. Ugh. Was there anything in the background that we can see? Not really. He's like, I'm going to make a deal with you using your ranking as a bargaining chip. And then here's what he's offering in exchange. Yeah, threatening him with the necklace from his daughter. He tries to pass it off as, oh, why would an ordinary necklace? And he's like, you don't recognize this? The crazy thing is, when he opens it up, there's the picture of his daughter. She's actually smiling in that. And the wife told him that there weren't any pictures of her smiling, but the only one that she has is of him holding her like that. Also, Smile could get it. Smile could get it quite a lot. Not surprising no one. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah. What? I don't know. It would be kind of interesting because you have X, and on all those posters you have an X and O. It would be interesting if something happens, the Smile incident makes me think that Smile ends up dying or getting critically injured. If the daughter comes out of the woodwork and teams up with X to avenge her father, and she becomes the O lady that we've seen in all those posters in year 41, that would be curious. I don't know who that O lady is. We haven't found her out yet, but if it ends up being Smile's daughter, that would be crazy. He's like, when he says let's strike a deal, and yeah, oh my God, Smile took the helmet to bash him with. Jesus. This was just, he's like, if anything happens to her, I'll tear that loud mouth apart of yours. Yeah, him smiling, but being so pissed off. Here's the thing. Has Rock already killed the daughter, or are we going to see her later? Because he makes several comments that makes it seem like, I guess her keepsakes can keep you company. That makes it sound like they've killed her. Oof. Yeah, because he's so pissed. This fight was really well done. The animation of it was amazing. Oh my God. I'm going to put a timestamp when I figured out who X was. Just thinking of that. He says it's still not enough, so he hasn't done enough damage to be able to fight back yet. Interesting. He's like, hit me. If you can beat me up, I'll tell you where I buried her ashes. Oh, that's such a line. Because he's trying to... Here's the thing. We don't know if she's actually dead or not. Dragon Boy is trying to get Smile riled up so that he'll attack him so that he can... Theoretically, he's trying to get him riled up so he'll attack him so that he can... For lack of a better word, so that he can get powered up to fight back against him. Yup. Oof. What a crazy fight, y'all. The animation was so good. Ugh. Smile definitely proves why you would not want to mess with him. So then these random guys, he's like, I'm done playing. He gets powered up. I do love the bondage gear. It's great. He's like, where are they? I guess he's assuming that both his wife and daughter are in trouble. That's why he says, way. He's like, it's my turn. These guys are randomly filming, so I'm curious to know what they're going to do with that. When you've lost your smile, you're just trash. Oof. Meaning if you can't smile, that's your source of power, and that's not going to work. Dragon Boy's powers are interesting. I sent you to hell to be with her. And yeah, Smile's like, you're right. You're ranked 12th. I've heard about your powers, but I also get a lot of powers from smiling, so... I'm just going to have to keep doing that until I beat the shit out of you. And that's when he's like, hey, you're standing there nice. Help me out. You're being clever with your calculations to reap the benefits here. Basically, it's like the equivalent of I know what you are for Dragon Boy to nice. So yeah, Dragon Boy's figured out, he's like, you're just here to try to get the rankings too. I know what you're up to. And then we end the episode. But he has in his hand there, okay, he has a vial of fear. So, is he going to try to use the fear on Smile? Is he going to try... Excuse me. Is he going to try to use the fear on Smile? Is he going to use the fear on Dragon Boy? I have the comments locked and ready to go for next week. I wanted to get to episode 21 before I answered them because I couldn't wait any longer, and I knew it would take me some time to get through those comments. But they're going to happen. I'm going to check them so I can watch. So I'm like, But yeah. So yeah, that's going to happen soon. So yeah. I'm really excited to get to these episodes. And in the future, we only have 3 episodes left, which is insane. But I'm going to get episode 22 very quickly. I can't believe the show just introduced X like that. So that's freaked me out. But I'm gonna have lots of timestamps to try to like make to where people are like, oh my God, girl, how'd you not realize? Again, this show, it can be so subtle sometimes. And then if you're not paying attention, but I've talked for over an hour, almost an hour and 20 minutes. Great. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I'm going to answer these comments to get to episode 22, and I'll be back here real soon with more To Be Hero X. Oh my God. See you then.